Hi everyone, welcome to my webinar on New Mexico hiking. This is going to be an overview of some of the unique and lesser known hiking trails throughout New Mexico. So first off, I just want to go ahead and start with a poll so I can see where my audience is as far as their hiking experience. So I'm going to start the voting. I just want to see how often everybody in here goes hiking. So if you all would just take a minute to go ahead and vote, I would appreciate it. Okay, well, I see most people go, once a month, once a year. Even one person looks like once a week, so that's pretty cool. How about real quick over in the chat, if you guys wouldn't mind just typing where some of your favorite hikes have been, just so I can see what kind of hiking you guys like to do and where you like to go. We can share our experiences. Okay, well, I see a lot of people keeping it local, like I did. Dripping Springs, Aguirre Springs, Picacho Peak. Those are some really great hikes. It's nice that they're so close, and it's not even a day trip. It's probably half a day. So those are some of the great characteristics of those closer hikes. The ones I'm going to be going over today are a little bit more. They're a day trip, even a couple nights, depending on where you are. But they're really neat and not as well known as some of the major hikes in the area. So the first one is called Wheeler Peak, and it's in the northern part of the state. You can see the marker there on the map. It's located in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, and it's near Taos, New Mexico, which is normally known for its skiing, but in the summer and the spring, there are some really great hiking trails and reasons to visit for other than the snow up there. So it's actually the highest peak in New Mexico, about 13,000 feet. It's kind of a rigorous trail. It's 16 miles round trip, so it's a day hike and something you would probably need to prepare for, but it's well worth the effort. It's gorgeous. There's a lake up there, and it's something that is well worth your efforts if you're ever in the area. A little bit further south of Taos, but northeast of Albuquerque by about 50 miles, is Tent Rocks National Monument. I'm gonna not say the first part of that name because I'm pretty sure I would butcher it and not do it justice. But this national monument didn't used to be open to the public until a few years ago. It's on a reservation, and so growing up here, I had never gone, and my dad had mentioned it to me that they had gone, and it's a really, really cool place to go, and you can hike through the different trails that have been left behind by the erosion and the volcanic eruptions that created these tent rocks 6 to 7 million years ago. It's a much easier hike than Wheeler Peak. They have a 1.2 mile trail and then a slightly more difficult 1.5 mile trail, but it's a day hike. It's really easy, and it's something really cool to go do if you're ever in the area of Tent Rock or of Albuquerque. Next on our list is the Gila Cliff Dwellings, and this is to the western part of the state. You can see on the map there where it's located. It's about 44 miles from Silver City, but it takes about 1 to 2 hours to get there from Silver City because the roads are so twisty and kind of hard to navigate. So this is a village that was built within some natural caves there about 700 years ago by some cliff dwellers, and it's still in very good condition. You are able to walk up amongst the ruins. You can see the eaten corn cobs that are still there, 700 years old. It's educational, but it's really cool. If you have kids or just want to go by yourself, it's a really neat place to go. And they have guided tours that are available. They do recommend that you call before you go because they sometimes will close it due to high winds or bad weather. And near the Gila Cliff Dwellings are some hot springs. They have some within a mile or so of the cliff dwellings, and then if you're willing to go work a little harder, about 6 miles away are some even more spectacular hot springs that are well worth the effort as well. I have a little video to show you of the cliff dwellings and just how up close you can get to them and how cool it is. So, play that for you guys here. Sorry, hold on. It always wants to play the one from the last time I did this, so I apologize. I thought I'd fix that, but we'll just go with it. Here it is. So that's just a video of how up close you can get to those Gila cliff dwellings, and you can really see everything that's there and you know, really witness the history there. It's just a it's just a really cool place to go. And so, okay. And then next on our tour is Catwalk, New Mexico, and it's also in the Gila National Forest. It's a little bit further west than the Gila Cliff Dwellings, about 5 miles from Glenwood, New Mexico. But it's this old plinkboard walkway, and I think they've redone it recently, and it's made out of metal. But it's placed on top of a steel pipe, and that pipe was used to bring water to a processing plant back in the day. And the processing plant has since closed, but they left the walkway, and it's really cool because you get to walk above and the water, and you know, amongst the rock and through these little canyons, and it's really cool, and you can swim in the water there. And they had closed it last year. It had been flooded, and it actually damaged some of the catwalks quite a bit, but at least half, if not all of it, has been reopened since, and it's a really cool place to go. And I remember going there as a kid, and I just loved it. I actually lost a shoe in the water. My mother was not happy, but so there's some really cool places in New Mexico to go that are off a little bit off the beaten path that you might not know or are there. But before you go hiking anywhere, but especially around here, especially in the southern part of the state where it's desert, there's a few hiking safety tips I wanted to pass along. The most obvious is to carry plenty of water. And what's not so obvious, though, is how much water is plenty. The minimum somebody should take is a gallon per person per day. And something to consider is that water weighs about 8 pounds per gallon. So it's actually pretty heavy to carry in with you. So a good rule of thumb is when half your water is gone, it's time to turn back because you don't want to be stuck out there. They also suggest that you don't ration your water. It's not going to do you any good if you don't drink it. So drink your water and, just be conservative and turn around when you're about halfway done. You should always try to plan your trip carefully. Tell someone where you're going and when you will return. Don't go alone. I think we all remember the guy who went rock climbing or something by himself and that boulder fell on his arm, and I won't go into specifics, but it didn't turn out. I mean, he lived, but he was minus an arm, so just make sure you go with somebody if at all possible, and at a very minimum, tell somebody where you're going and when you should be back. Make sure you dress properly. In the summer, you want to wear layered clothing. You don't want your skin exposed to the sun and the elements because that will leach the water out and just get you sunburned. Wear good hiking shoes, loose-fitting natural fiber clothing like cotton, a wide-brimmed hat, cover your neck, cover your ears, sunglasses, obviously sunscreen. You'll be tempted to wear shorts because it's going to be hot, but you probably want to wear, long, thinner pants to protect yourself from any cactus and rocks and pokey things that are on your trail. You need to know your limits as far as what you're in shape to accomplish. Hiking in the desert, it's usually fairly rough terrain. It can be steep. There's a lot of elevation changes, and you just want to make sure that it's something you can get yourself out of. You don't want to hike in somewhere and not be able to get back out. Make sure that you carry some type of waist or backpack that has water, food, a first aid kit, sunscreen, a jacket in case something happens. You're stuck there overnight. The temperatures drop in the desert. It gets very cold at night sometimes. And a flashlight. You're going to want a trail map and some waterproof matches, a pocket knife, and a fine-tooth plastic comb for cactus needles. That one was new to me, but it makes perfect sense, being around here and having fallen into a cactus before. So those are some of the tips just to keep yourself safe when you're hiking. Those are for the desert, but obviously if you're in the forest, like the Gila or up north, you want to maybe take some type of bug repellent and wear long sleeves and long pants to protect yourself from ticks and other critters, but we don't have to worry so much about that down here. But in wooded areas, that's something that you need to be cognizant of. So I think that's it. Real quick before we leave, though, I wanted to do a quick little interactive thing. So I am going to share my screen and And I have a whiteboard here. And it has on it a map of New Mexico. So if you could just put a little sticky note, and that is down here. You can click on it, or you could just enter a text box too. And just write, somewhere in the state where maybe you've gone hiking. If you haven't gone hiking anywhere, that's fine. But just somewhere you've gone hiking in the state. And then I'll do something to bring that all together in my webinar so that the people can talk about what they liked about where they went and their suggestions and ideas for where